Bentley House, located in the heart of the Sussex countryside, was originally a modest Tudor farmhouse, which was redesigned and extended in the 1960s by the architect Raymond Erith, who a few years before had gained recognition for the reconstruction of numbers 10, 11 and 12 Downing Street. Today, this Palladian-style mansion, centred in a magnificent 100-acre estate, is a leading attraction. The shop includes work by the Guild of Sussex craftsmen, providing an extensive range of unique and beautiful gifts. Within the Motor Museum, there is a superb collection of Victorian, Edwardian and vintage cars and motorcycles. Many are still used on the road, and if you watch the famous annual London to Brighton run, you will see several of these cars taking part. All the vehicles here are privately owned, therefore the collection is constantly changing. You will find many rare and some unique vehicles housed here. Some bear manufacturers' names which are still with us today, whilst others carry names and emblems of manufacturers which became confined to the pages of motoring history decades ago.
Mercedes are favoured to win the 1938 German Grand Prix, one of the B12 outfits, but Nuvolari has abandoned his Italian team.
Other aspects of our transport history are also represented here, as well as examples of more recent and futuristic designs.
Practice lab has won a place on the first row of the grid. Von Brachich is hoping for another major...
Bentley's renowned waterfowl collection was started in the 1960s by the then owner of the estate, the late Gerald Askew. It became the largest private collection in Britain, and you can now see every kind of swan in the world here. Nowadays, Bentley is closely concerned with the conservation and breeding of endangered species. But it wasn't only the birds getting wet when members of the 7 1/4 gauge society began arriving at Bentley for the 24th AGM weekend rally. The heavens opened and a moderate drizzle turned to heavy rain as drivers signed in, and the forecast of sunnier spells to come seemed to be more of a deep desire rather than a probability. But the grey clouds may have dampened members' heads, but they didn't dampen their enthusiasm, and there were no delays in getting engines unloaded and guided towards the steaming bay. We first saw this quarter-4 size narrow gauge Hunslet, Lady Jane, shortly after it had been completed in 1994 by owner Dennis Hode. Dennis told us that the 4-size Hunslets never in reality had tenders. They carried their coal in a truck. But as he didn't fancy the idea of perching high on a truck to drive Lady Jane, Dennis used a bit of artistic engineer's license. And why not? To build a tender which enabled the loco to be driven from a lower and more comfortable position. Apparently, the tender is made from the sides of an old washing machine and incorporates a 5-gallon water tank made from a recycled domestic copper cylinder. A packet of Purcell and Dennis will be ready to tackle the toughest load. The rain certainly didn't daunt the spirit of this battery electric intercity Bobo, although it did deter passengers. Once the sun shone and dried up all the rain, just like Incy Wincy Spider, the passengers came out again. Oh no, here's the rain once more. This 1/8 scale 060 Fowler 2F dock tank was built by owner Brian Ward, who used his own drawings and patterns for all the cast parts.
Yeah, very good. Glad you enjoyed yourself. Good. Yeah.
Completed in 1996, number 7105 represents one of just 10 full-size engines of this type, built in Derby almost 70 years ago. Proving to be a sturdy and reliable loco, number 7105 also proved a popular choice with passengers. Some, however, seem to feel that the loco lacked the refinement of indicators. OK, Norman, we'll turn left. This British Rail Class 06040 shunter wasn't quite dressed for such a grand occasion. But it's not the clothes, it's what's inside that counts. And number 43788 was out to show what it can do. Built in 1978, this loco ran for about 6 years as a passenger hauler on the Conway Valley Railway Museum line at Bettley Estate in North Wales, to where it nostalgically returned in 1994 to join in the 7 1/4 gauge Society's 21st AGM celebration rally. Bethany joined the Hazelwood family around 1984, since which time it has become a firm, fond favourite with both Simon and Anne. Out on the track, I managed to grab a few words with David Maudsley and asked him if he'd tell me about the Royal Scots Fusilier.
How long do you have this engine?
About 3 years. Bought it from Ron Mitchell. And it's about 10 years old.
I see. And do you run it here, or is this just a...
No, it comes down from Hemsby. Normally runs at Hemsby most weekends. During the summer, so it gets a lot of use.
So you had a nice change this weekend?
Yeah, it's different here. Yeah. Nice to get around, see different tracks.
Are you an all-weather man?
Oh yeah, running yesterday in the pouring rain.
And enjoyed every minute of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The track was empty then, so it was much better.
These rallies do, of course, afford traders the opportunity to tempt members with their latest wares. Not that 7 1/4 gauge members need much tempting. We cannot imagine attending a 7 1/4 gauge event and not seeing Brian Howarth with his Sprinter. However, since we last saw it, it has undergone something of a facelift. The front panel is now dressed in the correct period livery relating to X-Works 1983. Built by Brian between 1989 and 1991, 150001 was purposely designed to carry the maximum possible number of passengers on a portable track. And here on Sunday afternoon it might not have beaten its record for the number of people carried, but it did pass its 2,500 mile mark. So that's another one for the Sprinters record book. This locomotive was originally built in 1944 and is named after its second owner, who bought it around 1962. It passed through several hands, totally disappearing from the 7 1/4 gauge scene for a number of years, until eventually Keith Barnes bought it in 1986. Keith spent 3 years breathing new life into A.G.M, and since then it has been running on various tracks in Britain and abroad. Here we see A.B. McLeod being partnered by John Davis's 260 Southern Railway U-Class loco, River Itchin. This loco also has quite a history attached to it, and in fact predates A.B. McLeod by about 6 years. Built sometime around 1938, originally as a Great Western type, River Itchin ran for many years on Ken Schwab's Garden Railway in Kent, when it was appropriately enough named Maid of Kent. When John acquired the loco in 1976, he rebuilt it to resemble the Southern Railway class we see today. John told us that his interest in miniature railways, which has never waned, spans several decades, and that one of his greatest pleasures is meeting so many interesting and entertaining characters. Don Witheridge had brought along his 460 B1 Bushbuck, a locomotive which is a particular favourite of ours. Completed in 1974, Bushbuck is modelled on a class built during the mid-1940s.
Can't get any carriages at the moment.
But Don was looking a little forlorn, and Bushbuck somewhat naked.
Carry on.
Something had to be done about that.
Go.
Don't you want your carriages?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
There they are. Compliments of Sir Chandler.
Thank you very much. Very good of them, isn't it? There we go.
Well done.
Now that's certainly much better.
Are you alright?
Yes, thank you, Eileen. This little chap was built by teacher Roger Wakefield and pupils of Thurfield School in 1989. A few alterations and additions were made to the basic maxi-track Simplicity kit, which included opening the radiator grills to provide ventilation to the battery compartment, and adding on buffers, couplings and lighting. Number 2 Crawforth has now moved on to its second school in Dorking, and another generation of future 7 1/4 gauge society members. Don and Irene Freeman kindly gave me a few minutes of their time to tell me about their GWR pannier tank. Well, good afternoon, Don and Irene. I've seen you going around the track in this little cracker here. What can you tell us about it, Don?
Well, basically, we bought it about 5 or 6 years ago. It was in a bit of a state. I bought it from a guy called Albury, and I don't know of its origins. I don't know where it was actually made, but it ran at Reading at the, I can't think of the name of the place where it ran there.
Not can I, no.
That's an unusual place, isn't it? Not
It is.
high, but there we are. And what do you think about it, seeing as you've been having a little drive
I drove
with
it for the first time yesterday and I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
You did, didn't
Really
you?
good, yeah.
Yeah, I could tell
Had
by
a
the,
lovely weekend.
I could tell by the smile on your face when you were going by. I thought it's a cracking job, yes.
Yeah, I couldn't get her off, actually.
Yeah. And where does it normally run, Don?
It normally runs at the Fremley and Ascot Club.
I see. And so this was a sort of little treat out for it, was it?
Well, it goes out quite often. It went to Belfast about 3 or 4 weeks ago, It's been to Ascot Locomotive Club about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It ran last week at the public running at Ascot Locomotive Club.
I see.
And
what would its top speed be? Any idea?
Oh, no idea actually. It's
Are you
quite
frightened to find out?
No, I think we had a good go today.
You did?
We did about 12 miles an hour today, I think. I don't know. No, we didn't.
Well, thank you very much, both of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
This 1/8 full-size British Rail Class 12 060 shunter was partly built by Larry Cheeseman, but the finishing touches, painting and essential titivating were undertaken by owner John Pollington, work which was completed in 1995. Currently chairman of our host club, John told us that number 15234's glass fibre body houses 4 motors and is operated by a 4QD electronic controller. Without a doubt, this loco looks to be a powerful little beast. Although John did not have the time to run it much this weekend, as he was fully occupied getting visiting locos out onto the track and keeping them running. Don Ketley told us that apart from the injectors and some pressure gauges, every other part of this magnificent loco was made by his own fair, coal and oil-covered hands. British Rail Standard Class 4 264 tanks were often referred to as mixed traffic locos, but in reality they serve more as passenger haulers, and throughout their comparatively short working lives they covered most of Britain's railway network. Number 80076 is certainly a credit to Don's engineering skills and a delightful tribute to what many consider to be among the most successful of all British rail designs. Curly, a quarter-scale Hunslet, owned by Vernon Abel, was built by Derek Pring and is the sister engine to Derek's Gilly, and this weekend was in fact the first time the two had ever been in steam together.
Right. Yes, indeed.
We have never seen brasses so highly polished as those that bedeck Nigel Sale's 042 tank Cygnus. The sun didn't try to shine when this loco was out on the track. It couldn't compete with the brilliance of that brass. Nigel's not sure who was the original builder of his Ken Swan Bridget design loco, but he himself rebuilt it and fitted a new boiler in 1985. During the weekend, there were 1 or 2 hold-ups which resulted in some engines being stranded on the track for quite a while, which meant an emergency supply of water had to be brought in. Christine Craig had travelled all the way from Ayrshire to take delivery of her new BR Class 31 A1A diesel electric loco, and this was their first outing together. So we were especially delighted when Christine very kindly offered to take us and Uckfield Model Railway Club member Jeff Billington for a trip round the track, so that Jeff all could tell us something about Bentley Miniature Railway.
Oh yes, yes.
Alright, we're just about leaving the station area now, Bentley Central. I'm going to leave out and go out onto the extension. This extension has been finished for about 2 years. We've still got some running problems with it, but we're getting them all solved slowly. Going over Paul's Pond at the moment. That's something Paul wanted to put in the railway right from the word go. Proceeding now out onto the main line. And round towards the level crossing. The track speed, we try to keep it about 5 miles an hour for normal passenger hauling. The reason for that is mainly for safety reasons and to give the passengers a nice comfortable ride. And the straight we've just started on is approximately 450 feet long. Up to the level crossing it is level, and beyond that approximately 1 in 350 grade. The level crossing we're going over now is put in for access for the manager at Bentley because he keeps cattle. And it's also useful access when they have an event on in the main field in the middle here. And as we get to the end of the straight, we come into either the station loop at Glyndebourne Wood, or we can go around the bypass for fast trains through. The curve radii up here on the main line are about 84 and 90 feet. And through here we're about 65-foot radius. This is Glyndebourne Wood Halt, where we have a small signal box which is going to be upgraded in the future. The station area is a fairly level area of track. We're now going up a 1 in 350 climb again. And this cutting, if it had been done by hand, would have taken a long time, but fortunately we had one of our members who's got a mini digger, and we got it done in about 3 weekends. A lot of humping, but we managed to do it. And we've just come into the crest of the climb now as we go around the first part of the bend. This is a 65-foot radius here. And the cutting is approximately 4'6" in the deepest part. And that's roughly where we've got the tunnel. And the tunnel itself was finished in the earlier part of this year. The portals were actually cemented before we started the running season. And we're quite pleased with it. It's got a reinforced roof, approximately 6 inches thick, laid on top of corrugated steel. And over the top we've covered with soil and grassed it. The construction of the track bed, we started off by laying the concrete edging, which we've made in 15-foot sections and cast it in situ with our shuttering boards. The underlay of the track itself was cement washings from these large cement mixers, you know, the mobile ones, when they flush them out. And then the track top covering, as far as the ballast is concerned, is used road chippings, when they've been what they call sweepings. When they've done the major work on the road, they sweep up the rubbish, and that's what we got for nothing. As you can see, quite a few busy sections of track as we go through. Looks like we're going to have to stop now. The signal's been cleared for us. As you see, the level crossing is also a very good vantage point for the visitors to see the railway as well. Over to the right you can see the house which Mrs. Askew lives in, the lady who owns the property, and allows the council to run it for her. That's East Sussex County Council. And now is one of our members, the Flying Scotsman. It's a very old loco, but it's a lovely engine to drive. And we're coming back on this radius here is a 90-foot radius. We're coming back towards the old circuit now. And the original circuit was only 600 feet. And the current one is just 150 feet short of half a mile. Another one of our visiting trains, very powerful battery electric. Superb thing to see going round. We're now back on the old circuit, and this part here is the steepest part of the track, which is roughly 1 in 100. And our old access to level crossing is up here as well. And you see in the centre all the visitors' stalls and what have you, and the storage marquee. And this radius we're coming onto here is one of the steeper ones at 60 foot. We've come to the end of the ride now, and we should be going into the station. The route is set. Coming past the bypass loop, past the turntable spur. Okay, and this is where we come to a halt on the arrival side of the platform. As you can see, we have the Flying Scotsman with a fully laden train ready to leave.
John Mill's LNER 462 Flying Scotsman is a delightful reflection in miniature of that classic locomotive which has always captured the hearts of railway enthusiasts the world over. John believes this particular loco to have been built sometime around 1960, but by whom and where John really has no idea. But it has been with John for over 25 years. On Saturday, this Class 60 diesel caught my attention. So when it and owner Alan Gildersleeve stopped almost beneath my feet, I asked Alan to tell me something about the loco. Have you built this yourself?
Yes, I have. The idea was to build something that was easily powered, because I could no longer build a steam engine for the facilities.
Yeah.
But I wanted something that was a scale model of a standard gauge engine. So a friend of mine, Jim Bass, suggested I built the latest as it was, which was the Class 60.
And how long did that take you?
4.5 years, including the petrol tanker. But at the same time, also built a trailer to carry the two in. So 4.5 years as a total project for the three items, really.
What would the top speed be of that?
About 13, 14 miles an hour.
Have you ever had it up to top?
Yes, yeah. There's a few sort of tracks where, because it accelerates fast, you can get up to speed and slow down pretty quickly, so you can try it out on a fair number of straights.
And are you a member of this society?
No, it's Bedford, is where I come from. It's obviously a 7 1/4 gauge member, but Bedford's my home track.
Here, Alan's son Stephen has the controls of number 60038. This little lady is a local lass from Haywards Heath, whose home track is here at Bentley. Built by owner Jeff Billington, Laundry is based on a Great Central Railway Class 12A tender loco, which apparently started off life as a tank loco, but somewhere along the way, during construction, she changed into a tender loco.
What are they doing?
But I understand that some locos do have an amazing metamorphic capability. Jeff said that he's been driving miniature steam locos since he was 5 years old, which isn't that long ago. Is it, Jeff? Unfortunately, Bentley's signalling system suffered one or two technical hiccups over the weekend, which caused a few furrowed brows and problems out on the track. The semi-automatic 3-aspect coloured lights are controlled by treble-activated relays which operate the signals. These are shown on the control panel in the signal box, which incorporates an override circuit for manual control by the signalman if required. This 040 battery electric Dock Authority shunter was built by Peter Beecham from Bristol. Peter is another who can be described as having been born with 7 1/4 gauge in his blood, for he was just 12 years old when he ventured into building a driving truck in this gauge. Peter didn't tell us how many he's built since then. Dave Parnell designed his quarter-scale loco in a period of just 3 months, basing his design on a leak and manifold engine. Then, barely 15 months later, Kingfisher was off the drawing board and out on the track. We understand that Dave experienced 1 or 2 teething problems with Kingfisher, and those who visited the 1995 AGM rally in Frimley will recall Dave being unable to run Kingfisher because its back-to-back wheel measurement was too great for the track there. But Dave made a few adjustments, and since then we've seen Kingfisher running trouble-free on several different tracks up and down the country. Another King, but this time it's a 1/8 full size of the Great Western Railway's number 6010 King Charles I. The original was built in 1928, and work on the chassis for this particular model was started only 1 year later. When Charles Timbrell bought the loco in 1984, he had a lot of work to do on it. But good things can't be rushed, and it was only earlier this year when that work was completed. Understandably, King Charles I is proving to be a real royal scene stealer. Food, glorious food, and there's nothing better than a barbecue after a hard day out on the track, except maybe a pint or a generous measure of whiskey.
Dinner. Put me out back on, you can come back to me now. Don't you do that.
For drivers, co-drivers, signalmen and everyone, this was a most welcome and relaxing way to end the day. There were 172 BR Standard Class 5 locomotives built between 1951 and 1957, and Cyril Chandler's Green Knight is a splendid 1/8 scale replica of that hard-working and reliable class. Built by Graham White and completed in 1994, Number 73086 is just like its full-size forebears, a powerful loco and one to be greatly admired. Yes, the unexpected can and does happen when you're behind a camera.
Oh.
I cornered David Hillier and asked him about his loco, Lady Marjorie.
Now then, the past couple of days we've been watching this delightful engine of yours go around the track. Not so well perhaps on yesterday, but today it's, you know, moved along quite nicely. So could you give us a little history on it?
Well, it was built started in 1986 by Frank Kenny, finished within 2 years? 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
And he ran it till 1990. Towards the end it was on a commercial railway in Milton Keynes.
Earning its keep.
Earning its keep, yes.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of trouble with the boiler and it had to be totally rebuilt. I acquired it in 1995.
Box of bits.
As a total box of bits. And it's been rebuilt since then, mainly with the help of Mick here. And one or two others of my friends who've helped me.
Had you ever had anything like this before?
No.
You haven't?
No. I'm afraid I'm a total dunce when it comes to mechanics. I've got 2 left thumbs on each hand.
But you've got a very good friend in Mick.
Indeed, yes. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be like it is today.
And what do you think about it, Mick?
Could be a lot better.
It could?
Could be a lot better.
In what way?
There's 1 or 2 leaks. Seeing as this is the second time out since it's been rebuilt, there's 1 or 2 leaky bits that need seeing to.
Minor adjustments, shall we say?
Adjustments,
Yeah,
just 1 or 2 minor adjustments.
Well, thank you very much, both of you.
Oh.
Apparently, Dave Darton went scrabbling around in skips to find the materials he needed to build his 040 battery electric tram. Built originally as very much a plaything for Dave and his grandchildren, Tramps has proven to be a very capable and reliable chap, which Dave has run on various tracks here, there and everywhere. Knowing that this Hunslip will not run unless owner-driver Derek Brown is wearing a particular hat, we were anxious to make sure he got it with him.
To prove it.
That's all right then. Completed in 1996, Tony Priest, which Derek based on a Milner design, incorporates several features which he designed himself. Derek told us that his first recorded interest in steam locomotion was at the tender, no pun intended, age of 2, and that the addiction just got worse as he got older. There really is no hope at all for some people. Sumatra, an 040 Bulldog battery electric loco, has only recently been acquired by Rex Mountfield. Rex's first loco was named Singapore, so in keeping with the same Malaysian-Indonesia theme, Sumatra was chosen for this, Rex's second loco. We are currently taking bets on whether his next loco will be christened Borneo or Java. An added attraction over the weekend was the arrival of a rather splendid collection of MG cars. Built by Arthur Glaze and completed in 1985 for Colin Cartwright, this majestic Royal Scot spent the first 10 years of its life on display in the Conway Valley Railway Museum, during which time her current owner, Malcolm Thomas, told us that Somper Isle was only ever steamed 3 times. Since 1995, when Malcolm bought it, the loco has been steamed and run on several occasions. Resplendent in its crimson rake livery, Somperire presented quite a picture. Arthur Lynn's 040 Romulus, imaginatively named Romulus, with its six-wheeled tender, proved to be a popular choice with Bentley visitors. As Romulus headed back to the station, I came across Tigger, waiting on the home straight.
Is this your own engine?
It is indeed, yes.
Have you built it yourself?
No, she was built by Maxitrack in 1993.
How long have you been running it?
Since then it's built new for me.
Is it? It's a little cracker, isn't it?
She worked very well. Acquitted herself very well at Pomeroy last year.
Did it?
And she's pulling very well here today.
What would her top speed be, given the opportunity?
It is said that this will do something like 10 mile an hour, pulling about 12 adults. She's certainly, when I've had the throttle open, once and once only, she's frightened the living daylights out of me.
Probably the hardest working and worked locos you could ever find, 040 narrow gauge Hunslets, were no more than slaves in the quarries of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Some survived the quarry closures, and now, just like Ron Manning's quarter-scale Hunslet, Robert, they spend their time more leisurely as passenger haulers. Pearl by design and pearl by name. This is one of two of this class of maxi-track loco, the other being Tigger, which ran here this weekend. These locos may not perhaps be considered as aesthetically pleasing as certain other locos, but they have a certain charm, and anyhow, as we all know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Number 644 was the first loco John Dalton built in 7 1/4 gauge, although he had previously built several in 5-inch. John based the design for number 644 on the full-size prototype built way back in 1870, but he used Dart cylinders and valve gear. Put together over 5 years and completed in 1995, number 644 was called into service on Saturday to assist Homeside to return to the station. Owned by Melvin Bright, Homeside is an 060 in National Coal Board livery. Melvin told us that he's not sure exactly when and by whom the loco was built, but he's been running Homeside for about 3 years. Paul Heathfield has been a member of Uckfield Model Railway Club for over 15 years, and he has been running his 1/8 scale class 73 E6007 for 12 of those years. Paul said that during that time E6007 has undergone many alterations and it is now totally battery electric powered, as opposed to having once been petrol driven. Marius Suez catches your eye immediately, and not simply because it has an unusual and probably unique name, but because it's an unusual engine in its own right.
Oh no, don't do that. Goodbye.
Designed by Ken Swan, this Coppola 040 rat loco was built by owner Roy Thompson over 7 years, and it really is a loco with a difference.
We've got to go.
Over recent years, we've seen Marius Suez running on quite a few tracks up and down the country. But what we want to know this time, Roy, is what happened to all the steam? Another Lady Jane, but this one's Paul Tyre's diesel outline battery electric Midlander. Paul, who built this loco between 1996 and 1997, fitted it with one of the motors which have become firm favourites with model engineers, probably because there was something of a surplus of them, Sinclair's C5s. By comparison to many locomotives, Lady Jane is as quiet as a church mouse. You barely hear her approaching and passing. This is certainly one way to get around, although it takes a bit of stamina to complete the circuit. Pandora has been brought down from Yorkshire by owner Keith Parkinson. When Keith built this loco, he based the design for it on Dolbarden, which used to transport slate from the quarry at Llanberis to Port de Norwich on the northwest Wales coast. Pandora wasn't hauling slate wagons this weekend, but she was kept pretty busy as a passenger hauler. We first saw this little 040 charmer when Alan Beard ran it at the 1995 gathering in Frimley, although, as Alan told us, it had been running on various tracks at home and abroad for 4 years before then. Number 3, Marie Estelle, is a rebuild of a porter tank engine and represents a 3-foot gauge loco which you may well see or perhaps have seen when visiting Disneyland. Four generations of the Pring family had to be captured on camera, so I asked them to tell me something about their Hunslet Gilly.
Raring to go,
He is raring to go, yeah. Built in 1990, or completed in 1990, and regularly used ever since.
Is there anything else you could tell us about it at all?
Well,
how did the idea evolve, you know, to produce this particular model? Yeah.
Well, I was made redundant, and I thought, well, I've got to earn a crust somehow. So I decided to try building a couple of engines. So I built 2 of these. I sold one, and that kept us going. And in the end, I didn't have the heart to sell this one because I got attached to it. So it's named after my daughter, Angela. And well, we rather like it. We take it around all over the place.
What does grandson think of it? Come on.
Very good.
Very good. I see. And when you're a little bit older, they'll allow you to drive it, won't they?
Steam's with us, all of us. We all get excitement watching the cattle boil.
Do you?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I think with that last comment, we'll sign off. And thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
Peter Bush began building this little lass in 1987, using Ken Swan's Jessie design and a soupçon of model engineering licence. Completed in 1992, Peter entered Jeannie in Class 3 at the 1993 prestigious Midlands Model Engineering Exhibition, where she won 3rd prize. This 060 LNER Class J45 diesel shunter was only completed earlier this year, so it's still finding its feet, or rather its wheels. Built from a commercially available BR Class 8, the basic chassis and body moulding were modified to produce this LNER J45, of which owner Malcolm Freestone told us there were only 4 full-size locos of this type ever built. Since its completion in 1988, this Great Western Railway diesel railcar has been run extensively at fetes and portable track events. It's even starred on BBC television. Distinctive in its chocolate and cream livery, petrol-driven number 1, complete with its GWR brake van, can also be seen from time to time running on the Bedford Model Engineering Society track. It's said that from the somewhat modest GWR railcar, the British Railways diesel mechanical multiple unit trains are directly descended. Fellow Bedford Model Engineering Society member David Coombs talked to us about his tram.
This is basically a freelance tram. It started off really as a set of 4 wheels and a couple of motors, and we wanted something to ride in rather than on in the 7¼ gauge, and it sort of got a bit out of hand. As you see, it's got a bit bigger than we expected. It's not a model of anything in particular. It's mainly for us to have fun with. Grandchildren love it, and so do most of the other kids when we're public running. So it's not exactly Disneyland, but it's not to be taken too seriously.
Where do you normally run it?
We normally run at the Summerfield Miniature Railway, which is just outside Bedford, which is run by the Bedford Model Engineering Society.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome. Thank you.
This freelance 060 battery electric loco, let's hear it again for the C5s, was built by Pete Smith and pupils of the Cheshunt School in 1993. Now retired from teaching, Pete has moved into the realms of model engineering full-time. Also caught receiving attention in the steaming bay was Andrew Clark's number 1103. Originally built by Dick Stockins in 1990, this loco was rebuilt by Andrew 4 years later.
You ain't looked at much since you've been here, have you?
Over and above all other locomotives, Mick Mackay's Basic Loc LNWR Precursor probably, and rightly so, attracted the greatest interest this weekend. Mick acquired Precursor in 1985 in what can only be described as a mixed multitude of components, which were not only a complex puzzle requiring all Mick's engineering expertise to reconstruct, but they also presented Mick with something of a puzzle in other ways. Was this Precursor one of the first, if not the very first, manufactured in 1909? 7¼ gauge Precursor was reported in the 1910 April issue of Model Railways magazine, and likewise featured in Basic Loc's own product catalogue of around the same time. And certain features of this Precursor have led Mick to think that it could well be one of the very earliest, if not the earliest model of its type. Having admired this especially striking loco from the first time I saw it, I was pleased when owner Eric Trendle and Dr. Mike Taylor kindly agreed to tell me all about it. Delightful little engine here.
Yes, that's true.
And Mike, you're the editor of the
7¼ inch gauge news.
Good, I'm glad you know that.
For the last 10 years.
Right, well that can't be bad then, can it? I believe you could tell us a little bit about this engine here?
Well, I was delighted to receive a letter with 2 photographs from Eric, the builder of this, to me, rather magnificent and beautifully built Walker diesel, which was bought before the war by the Clogher Valley Railway in Deepest Island on the border country, and it was a 3-foot narrow gauge, and it was the general manager's idea that he would save the railway by introducing internal combustion. So this and its sister number 1, in fact, have the honour of being the first diesel rail car commercially.
Well, I know that.
And I think Eric, who has built this magnificent machine, perhaps didn't realise what an important and historical object he's taken on.
Yes.
And if I may say so, he's made an absolutely magnificent job of it. I do know the original intimately, and I can hardly fault it.
Was the original used for pulling passengers as well?
Yes, the idea was the Clogher Valley Railway, in fact, had number 1, which was identical to this number 2 as far as here.
Yes.
But from here onwards, it had a passenger carriage, which was just like a bus. And in fact, it was the same dimensions, and in fact had bus seats in for 28 people. And they used this quite intensively from 1933 right up to the war, when the railway ultimately went bankrupt. But they realised very quickly that they couldn't exist with just one unit, and they managed to borrow enough money to have a second unit made. And they decided that they would put a wagon body on it, but in the event of accident or maintenance, they took the wagon body off, and then they could put the passenger body on as well. And happily, the original is saved in the Belfast Transport Museum even today.
Well, we'll finish this interview and say to Eric here that the best thing that he could do now, I think, is to build a passenger carriage to go with the front end.
I believe he's well on with it.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Another year gone, another rally over. What can be said? Roll on next year.